All right, I'm so excited to welcome our next presenter, Sophia. Sophia is originally from San Diego, California, but now lives in Sonoma County. She attended Sonoma State University, where in May of 2022, she obtained her bachelor's degree in geography and environmental studies with a concentration in society, environment, and development. She has worked in small scale agriculture, environmental restoration and education, and salmon and steelhead monitoring. So I'll pass it over to Sophia to talk more about her work at Pepperwood Preserve this year.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. I'll share my screen. Let's see. Can everyone see that? Okay. Perfect. Okay, well, this is my presentation of my service year at Pepperwood Preserve. So a little bit of background. Pepperwood is in Sonoma County, which is a mix of urban and rural areas. Most people live in the cities. The largest is Santa Rosa. There's also Petaluma, Sebastopol, and Rohnert Park, which is where Sonoma State is and where I went to college. Agriculture is huge in this region, especially wine and wine grapes. That totally dominates our economy. We're also within a biodiversity hotspot, and we have abundant oak woodlands, grasslands, and conifer forests and chaparral. Our indigenous groups here include the Pomo, Wapo, and Coast Miwok, and Pepperwood resides on Wapo land exclusively. It's an extremely fire-prone area. In 2017, the Tubbs fire burned around 90% of Pepperwood and over 36,000 acres total. Additionally, the Kincaid fire also burned Pepperwood about 60%. And we've had the Nuns, Kincaid, Walbridge, and Glass fire come through this region within the past 2 years. And then this is a view of St. Helena from Pepperwood. Fine. Okay, so our relationship to the community, like what does Pepperwood do? Pepperwood manages a 32,000 acre biological reserve in addition to the Dwight Center for Conservation Science. The reserve serves as a living laboratory hosting researchers from around the world, and it's a hub for ecological education and a conservation think tank. Pepperwood is a living laboratory for land stewardship. It combines modern science and traditional ecological knowledge to define the best practices for our community under a rapidly changing climate. We are also a sentinel site dedicated to tracking ecosystem processes unfolding over time by systematically monitoring local weather, soil moisture, and stream flow, and the diversity and vitality of local plant and animal populations. So here's me in the field doing diameter at breast height readings in a forest post-prescribed fire. As you can see, it's recently been burned. And each year, Pepperwood also hosts school trips for hundreds of elementary school students and mentors college students in their conservation science internship, and hosts a variety of classes and stewardship workdays for the public to get out and connect with nature.
Sophia, so sorry to interrupt. It looks like your slides are not advancing. I think we're only seeing the first slide.
Oh no. Okay, I'll just go through the slides that you missed. So sorry about that. So as I said, Sonoma County is where Pepperwood's in Sonoma County. It's a mix of urban and rural areas. Agriculture is super huge here, specifically wine grapes and wine tourism dominates our economy. And we're within a biodiversity hotspot. There's oak woodlands, grasslands, conifer forests, and chaparral. The indigenous groups here are the Pomo, Wapo, and Coast Miwok, and Pepperwood resides within Wapo land. And we've had a lot of wildfire, specifically since 2017. We've had the Tubbs fire, which burned around 90% of Pepperwood, and the Kincaid fire burned Pepperwood again around 60%. Are you guys seeing the next slide? Good. I can't see the chat, so if someone could.
Yes, looks good.
Yes, okay, perfect, cool. So as I had I'll just go through the slides again. So we are a 3,200 acre biological reserve and Dwight Center, and we also manage the Dwight Center for Conservation Science. Pepperwood Preserve serves as a living laboratory hosting researchers from around the world and has become a hub for ecological education and is a conservation think tank. It's a living laboratory for land stewardship, combining modern science and traditional ecological knowledge to define best practices for our community under a rapidly changing climate. The Pepperwood is also a field station serving as a watershed sentinel site, tracking ecosystem processes unfolding over time by systematically monitoring local weather, soil moisture, stream flow, and the diversity and vitality of local plant and animal populations. So here's me out in the field with our research scientist, Ryan, measuring trees diameter at breast height. And we also have an education team. So Pepperwood hosts school trips for hundreds of elementary school students, mentors college students in their conservation science internship, and hosts a variety of classes and stewardship workdays for the public to connect with nature. So here's Pepperwood's impact. There's 3,200 acres of forever wild protected habitat. 900 species of plants and wildlife are protected here. There's 22 climate stations continuously reporting data to inform policy around drought and wildfire risk mitigation, and 8 large landscape conservation partnerships supported to advance resilience throughout our region. We're a biological field station in the Bay Area, so we're utilized by lots of universities, like UC Berkeley has a lot of research placed here, UC Davis, the local JC hosts many classes here, like field trips, and Sonoma State as well. When I was a student here, I came to Pepperwood twice for a field trip. So the impact in the Bay Area is huge and around the world. For capacity building goals, when I came into this fellowship, I wanted to do ArcGIS, prescribed fire, and also gain some technical skills experience and expand my professional network. But those goals shifted over the years. I didn't really do GIS while I was here. I mostly really expanded my knowledge on prescribed fire and also regenerative grazing, which I was super excited about. And whenever I developed a new interest or passion, Pepperwood was super supportive of helping me learn more about it. So here's me burning some burn piles, which was super exciting. Some projects I participated in at Pepperwood, there was a lot of native grass plantings, and I also helped to support our monthly volunteer work days. Pepperwood grows around 20 to 25,000 native grasses annually from seeds collected on site by volunteers. And then they're planted in the winter, mostly planting in our burn pile scars and broadcast burn scars. And this really helped me. Being involved in this project helped me ID grasses from seed all the way to fully mature adult plants, specifically Stipropulchra, Festuca californica, and Danthonia californica. So I was really excited to be on this project because I didn't know much about native grasses before this fellowship, and this really helped to expand my knowledge. I also did a lot of prescribed fire. So I participated in 5 prescribed fires this year, 2 of which were at Pepperwood, and then I did black lining training at Bouverie Preserve, which is managed by Audubon Canyon Ranch. And I also did Glen Oaks, the Glen Oaks RX at Sonoma Land Trust. So, and then tomorrow, hopefully, if weather conditions permit, I'll be at another burn at Mitsui Ranch on the Sonoma Mountain Preserve. So this was a really great experience learning about using fire as a land management tool and how we can utilize it to do fuel reduction and invasive species management. And so I was really excited to gain more experience in this. It's also just really fun work. I also, on our burn days, we like to bring frozen meals and put them in the burn piles to heat up our meals. So that was a highlight of work. And also just seeing the effects it can have on the landscape. We did one fall burn, so I was able to watch a burn unit essentially come back to life again after the rain came in the winter, and seeing how much the forbs populations loved it. The native grasses are just thriving now, and so it was really exciting. And now we've just done another burn this spring. That's this photo on the right. And so I'm excited to see how the fire has impacted the medusa head populations there, and hopefully it helped a lot. It was also an experimental burn to see if we can use fire as a tool to manage barbed goat grass. So exciting stuff. I was mentored at Pepperwood by Devin Friedfeld, who's a certified California burn boss, and also Annie Madden, who's a burn boss trainee. And in total at Pepperwood, I burned 65 acres and over 150 piles. So moving on, pun intended, from fire. I also worked on projects related to regenerative grazing and brush reduction. We worked with cows and goats at Pepperwood. So I worked with our grazers, market guard grass fed, to learn about managing cattle. I put up miles of electric fencing and then also tore it down when we didn't need it anymore. I also helped manage our 18 goats that live on site right next to my house. And so that included putting them in at night and taking them out in the morning, feeding them, and even camping outside with them to make sure mountain lions didn't get to them. So that was a super fun project to be included on and still be included on because they're my neighbors right outside my window. I get to see the real-time effects of grazing and how it benefits our grasslands and adds to our fire resilience. The goats are here to do some home hardening around our infrastructure, and they're doing a great job at reducing the foliage. And the cows, it's incredible how much they can affect the grasslands to reduce thatch and chow down the grass. So it's been really cool to see that firsthand. So here's some photos of on the right, a grazed grassland versus non-grazed, and you just see how much thatch buildup there is there. And then one of my tasks was also socializing the goats, getting them used to humans. And I did that by providing them lots of treats, and it worked. So they're very good with humans now. I also learned how to use a chainsaw. I went from having no experience to being able to work independently out in the field, prepping units and felling small to medium diameter trees, which is super exciting. I prepped units for our prescribed burns. I cleared roads after we had a lot of trees fall in our winter storms. So this was a super cool skill to learn, and going from absolutely no experience to feeling like fairly competent in my skills was a great feeling. So here's me. This is all prepping the fall prescribed burn unit. I also did photo monitoring for our prescribed fire projects, and would also attend the Sonoma County Forest Working Group to communicate our work and what we were doing with other landowners and foresters in the community. And that was a great network to be plugged into. So I was really excited to be a part of that as well. So we're looking at our oak woodland burn, and the photo on the right is kind of maybe like a few weeks after burn. And then this is what it looks like after the rains come in the spring on the left. For research, I assisted in, let me move the bar so I can read it. I assisted in the annual grassland monitoring projects notes that Pepperwood has. It's one of the longest data sets like ever for recording grassland, California grasslands and their cover. And so I was tasked with a dozen transects across the preserve and then categorizing the functional groups present, whether that was annual invasives or invasive perennials, like stuff like that. And so I helped with that, and that really helped my grassland ID skills. I also helped with forest monitoring post-fire and took monthly spring flow data as well. So here's me on our grassland project and learning all the different species there and getting to see the most beautiful parts of the preserve. I also did just a lot of field work, and there shed blood, sweat, and tears of joy. So we collected native grass seeds, pulled berms, planted thousands of grasses, hiked into super remote sections of the preserve to remove invasive species, and also had a lot of fun doing it. I never knew what we were going to be doing that day, but I knew it'd be outside, so I really enjoyed that. And it was just absolutely gorgeous every day. So yeah, had a lot of fun doing field work. I'd say I probably spent 95% of my time at Pepperwood outside. So I really loved that. I also created social media content. I posted 15 feed posts like onto our main Instagram and dozens of stories to help connect the public with what the research and preserve management team does here at Pepperwood. And I contributed to the Pepperwood newsletter and blog that's read by hundreds of subscribers. Some successes: I improved my technical skills, as I mentioned, chainsawing, using fire. I also learned how to drive stick shift with it, which I'm super stoked about. My plant ID skills increased significantly, and I can also explain like the importance of native grasses and why they're like absolutely vital, and also ID invasives and talk about management strategies for them. I met so many people at Pepperwood. The last 2 years of my college experience were online, and so networking with professionals was really limited to only remote options. And this had me like meeting people like face to face and talking about grasses, talking about fire. And it was just a really good way for me to expand my professional network early in my career. I got to attend trainings and take classes on CEQA. I recently took a class on portable pumps for prescribed fire, and so now I can be more useful on a holding team. I learned research and stewardship methods and also traditional ecological knowledge and how to incorporate that with Western science. So I'm really stoked on lots of successes here. For barriers, the poison oak was absolutely brutal at Pepperwood. I kind of had a continuous poison oak rash for the entire winter. And I also have asthma, and working with fire, that's definitely very limiting. All of that led to a bit of burnout occasionally when I just was really tired from field work, or also imposter syndrome of thinking if I was even supposed to be here or if I was ready for this. But Pepperwood is a really supportive community, and so I overcame those barriers. And as I said, that with challenges, burning out, that was hard. It was really hard on my body this year. Working in the field full time is exhausting, but I really love it and really am passionate about it. So when I was navigating, oh, is this the career for me? Is this what I want to do? I'm fairly certain it is. And I had this like kind of growth mindset of, at times I was feeling like I was incompetent and not ready to be here because there was just so much I didn't know. But then now I'm more excited of, there's so much I don't know and there's so much I have yet to learn. And that's more of like an exciting thing to me now rather than something for me to be anxious about. So reflections and conclusions. I learned a lot from hands-on experience about stewardship, how to read and manage a landscape, and keep asking questions from people. And the fact that there's so much I don't know is something to be excited about, not stress about or get down on myself about. I developed so many new interests and passions. I never thought I'd be this excited about native grasses before. Before this, I did mostly agriculture and fisheries work. And so now I've completely changed paths. And when I'm applying for grad school as well, that's like, I'm looking more at restoration ecology now than I was a year ago. I made so many new friends, and I'm super grateful to have been a part of the Pepperwood staff and also be mentored by Devin, Annie, and Michael and the rest of the research and preserve management team. I'm super appreciative to have the chance to live on site and be roommates also with my fellow GrizzlyCorps fellow Michaela, who taught me so much as well. And I just want to say thank you to GrizzlyCorps for this opportunity because it was invaluable experience fresh out of college. So yeah, questions?
Thanks so much, Sophia. This was a wonderful presentation. Really great visuals as well. But yeah, if anyone has any questions or even any comments or appreciation, please feel free to unmute yourselves. Looks like you're getting a lot of positive messages in the chat as well, Sophia.
I have a question for you, Sophia. What did you find most helpful in dealing with burnout?
I think what was super helpful for me was I would go out onto the preserve like when I wasn't working and just like appreciate being out there and like feeling like kind of thinking like this is just such a beautiful place to work. Like I just had to be here and enjoy it, not on the clock. And that I think really helps of just like getting to be in the moment. Also just being like realistic with, I'm doing hard manual labor all day. I'm not going to be able to do the same things I was doing in college. I can't go out with my friends all the time. Like I need to just rest. And that was just something that moving to working full time, that's just a life adjustment. So that helped me a lot of like not feeling down on myself, just like this is the situation at hand now. And some things are not going to be as sustainable as others.
Great, thanks.
Mhm.